Let's now bring in our guest for today, political analyst and Okta Research President, Professor Ranjit Rai. Sir, magandang hapon and welcome back to Storycon.
Magandang hapon, Prof. Itang haba ng ngiti mo.
Hi, Professor.
Wala eh. Ang daming nangyayari. Ang gulo eh. Fluidity rather than coherence is the name of the game as far as the political atmosphere is concerned.
Kailan ba kayo sasali sa gulo? Prof, kailan ba ilalabas yung survey nyo? Kakalabas lang ng SWS eh. So,
Pals.
Hindi, naglabas yung SWS today.
Hindi, meron din ng SWS ngayon. Yung concerns.
Yeah. Meron kami lalabas on fake news.
Yan. Doon sa kwan. Doon sa...
namin nailabas nung last... nagpapahinga lang yung team ng konti. Pero we're back in the game. And alam mo naman, ang survey company guy ng Okta, we're here 4 times a year, whether there's an election or not. So we'll be providing data to the public, and especially because of what's happening around us, no? Very dynamic.
Yung survey nyo ba, kasama din yung kay BP Sara? Katulad ng PALS at saka SWS?
Yes, definitely yung second quarter. Etong end of mid to end of June, sir, meron kami. Normally, ganun ginagawa namin. We try to, alam nyo ho, hindi ho kasi mura magpa-survey. Kaya, we try to time it just before or during important milestones. Gusto namin makuha yung pulse of the people, no, or the sentiments of the people during, just before the impeachment, and also, of course, or just after the impeachment, and then, of course, yung ating SONA, which is in July. So, importante rin yung timing ng survey natin. So second quarter natin, most likely mid to latter part of June po.
Abonohan nyo na muna, tapos hanap ako ng bayad.
Ayun tulungan nyo ako.
Mahal daw
subscription ng ano eh. Pero I think we have enough subscribers naman for June.
Pero sir,
itong mga special service ng SWS, ng PALS, you have to understand, much of this was born out of their own pocket eh. So meron silang resources to do a post-election survey. Pero alam mo, Okta, we just gave out one survey noong April. Hindi naman nakakahiya yung survey namin. 12 out of 12, we gave a probable list. Just like all the other survey companies. Yun nga lang, sa amin, lahat pumasok. So, yun lang, yung rankings were different. Pero we were pleasantly surprised, no? When it came to Marcoleta, to Kiko, and even to BAM. Ang lapit ng Okta, yung Okta data, no, of April, doon sa actual vote.
Prof,
so yun nga, lalo kay Kiko at saka kay Marcoleta, spot on. Eksakto kung ano yung percentage na nakita namin nung April, yun rin na lumabas halos doon sa...
Pero Prof, what's your next survey coming up? What's your next survey? What's it going to be about, and what are you testing the waters for now?
The majority of the survey will really focus on assessing the elections, looking at automated elections, what people thought about it, etong impact ng fake news, vote buying, maybe to some extent, maybe some questions about the actual vote itself, maybe yung youth vote if there was actually one. Wala kasi tayong exit polls eh. And tandaan natin ang surveys na ginagawa ng Okta in particular, and maybe even PALS and SWS, WR, where it's not supposed to be seen as predictive, no? It's bound by a certain snapshot in time, no? So kailangan i-inform rin natin yung mga kababayan natin about that. And then of course, yung basic performance ng isang survey, makikita mo naman dun sa how much of the survey approximates what actually happened 3 weeks later ng election. So kami naman sa Okta, wala naman kaming problem. We're kind of happy with what we were able to come out with. And siguro yung nga lang reflection namin, sana kung may pera ka ba kami, we could have done a May survey and may have gotten it even more closely approximating the actual vote.
Bilang non-profit organization, saan kayo kumukuha ng pera?
Well, actually, yung ating mga surveys, lalo ng mga ganyan, subscription-based yan eh. So we get it from subscribers. Tapos then we ride on, or we have questions that are for public use, public access, and for public service. So we have a couple of probes that we run quarterly. So we have a socioeconomic probe, we have a political probe which focuses on trust and approval, or not just of institutions but also of individuals, no? Then we have, special probes that are useful for particular junctures, no? So most likely we'll talk about the impeachment sa second quarter. But definitely may hunger and self-rated hunger and self-rated poverty tayo dyan. So yun lagi yan, every quarter ginagawa natin yan. Tapos may mga probes like on the West Philippine Sea, yung issue, yung continuing issues natin na we need to have some sort of understanding of people's sentiments. So yan, ginagawa natin. So,
So medyo tumama kayo, no, Okta, pero you have to admit medyo sumama yung image ng mga survey firms dito sa nakarang eleksyon eh. Nag-post na ba kaya? Ano yung...
Yeah, we just had that this morning.
What are you planning to do to make it better?
Yeah. So we had post-mortem of sorts sa Rappler. I'm sorry, I'm just mentioning it, another media outfit where we had almost all of us were there, no, except for SWS. We had this number one, the first finding is surveys are reliable, and not just because I said it, but because you can look at the data naman eh. If a survey...
Pero hindi ganun ang perception ng mga tao Professor.
Yeah, I know. Pero kasi nga, hindi rin kung ano yung survey, what surveys are and what surveys are not. A survey is not a prediction. It's an approximation, it's an estimation, it's a snapshot of a particular period in time. And in the case of Okta, we just had one. Our last survey was from April 20 to 24, and judged by our peers and also people who are in the media there, nakita naman kung ano yung lumabas, no? We had a list of possible winners, and why the list was longer is because of our margin of error of plus minus 3 percentage point or 3%, no? Which is because of our sample size of 1,200. Now, given that sample size, dikit-dikit ho. And as we reported, we gave you AMI, we gave all the media outfits, including si Sec Ronald, no? If you look and read the last two paragraphs of our report, we indicated yung both yung volatility, yung the dynamic situation that we were at that particular point. Second, we all talked about what were the possible things that happened on the ground, which was very hard for surveys to capture. Lalo na those surveys that were done in April. Number one, syempre yung dynamics ng campaigning at the ground level, no? Yung impact ng block voting, yung impact ng strategic voting ng ating mga kababayan. Kasi it was clear na from all our data na pareho lang pala yung undervoting nung yung ating fill-up rate is between 7 and 8. And from 2022 and today in 2025, pareho lang pala, no? We were looking at that. And not just for us, but all for the other survey firms also. And so we're looking at strategic voting, how particular blocks of Filipinos voted. And you can see that strategic voting happening in regions 9, 10, 11, 12. So all of these things, the dynamic, no, that was happening, including the Iglesia vote, which we're still trying to make sense of, but obviously did have an impact on quite a number of candidates. We talked about that. And of course, the impact of the new type of campaigning. Last point was the issue of agency, the role of the voter. That the fact is, Filipino voters came out, they were able to go beyond the spin and see the substance in the candidates that they voted for, competence, character, clarity of what you call this, plans and visions. I think for a segment of our voters, this was what they utilized now when they eventually voted and strategically voted for certain candidates. So you cannot understand this election just simply from survey results. It was too dynamic. There are too many moving parts and factors, no? But eventually we were able, because one of the survey companies like Pulse was able to come out with a post-election survey towards the end, near the election cycle. I think 6 to 9 sila. So their findings were also presented there. So again, reiterate what surveys are not. They're not predictions. Number two, surveys remain reliable, whether the example of Okta is to be utilized, or even the latest survey of Pulse, no, which showed some sort of approximation from the actual vote. Or third, that the election cycle is, that surveys have a limit as a particular instrument, no, in explaining why elections turned out the way they are. The goal, hopefully, in the next cycle is to have an exit poll, but that's very expensive.
So, Prof, tingin mo yung exit polls will solve yung iniraise ni Ami kanina na mga impressions?
Yes, I think so.
It will solve yung mga nakitang mga
discrepancies, no? Yeah.
Pero may binanggit si Ronald Holmes, sabi niya, because we were talking about the fact na 60% of voters were from Gen Z and millennials. Sabi niya kung kailangan ma-capture yun, sabi ko, di ba dapat mas malaki representation kung ganon? 60% ng voters mo ganon. Sabi niya marami mga factors, pero ang pwede daw gawin, stratified, pero mahirap daw yung stratified survey. What do you say about that? Tama ba yun?
Ano naman, a standard approach naman yan to solving. So, ang basic para sa nanonood sa atin, kailangan natin makuha yung populasyon, let's say Gen Z, yung actual voting population. You get that from the National Statistics Authority, whose only report is until 2022. So, nakuha niyo, we have to have the accurate numbers, no, so that we can weight them properly. And once we weight them, the method changes to somewhat. Kasi we have to kailangan mo talagang i-harvest yung mga bagong voters na yan. So it's hard in that sense, no? But not impossible. Once we get the actual data, we can determine ano yung weight nila dun sa survey. Ang problema kasi hindi weighted yung age groups natin. May estimates lang tayo. Use the national estimates provided by the Philippine Statistics Authority. So, the latest of which is about 2 or 3 years old. Nakuha niyo, Ami, so it's a technical challenge. We have to get information from the COMELEC. We have to get the...
Sa COMELEC nang galing yan eh.
Yeah, pero...
Yung 60% na yan, it came from the COMELEC for the voting population for this election.
Yeah, I know.
So may balak ba kayo na mag-ganon ng survey kung sakasakali?
Once we get the correct data, it's easy to do. Hindi naman siya the problem is getting the data. Ilan ba talaga ang Gen Z natin na rehistrado? Kaysa sa question ng Gen Z natin. Nakuha, ma'ams. So it has
yun na, binigay ng COMELEC eh. Nakuha na reporter namin eh.
Well, yun nga.
Yung exact yung number eh.
Prof, going to different aspects ng survey niyo.
The question is answer is yes, it can be done. If we're given the correct information. Kasi then it becomes the basis for the weights, and then that will now determine the outcome of any analysis, no? Once you get a survey. Pero once we get the data, walang problema yan, kaya namang gawin. Pero yun nga lang, it will take longer. Kasi imagine you have to capture those people. Some of them will be in school. Interviewers will be returning back and forth. So it will take a little more time. It's certainly not impossible. Ginagawa naman sa ibang bansa yan. Pero in other places, kinento nga ni Prof. Ronnie kanina sa isa namin forum, ayun nga sa UK nga, they did the same thing. Nagkamali rin. Alam mo yun? Hindi rin.
Sumemplang yan, sa Brexit.
Yeah, sa
Brexit, terrible.
So, on a different note, Prof, bakit ang laki ng difference, halimbawa sa survey nyo, dun sa survey ng SWS tsaka Pulse, sa usapin ng approval rating ni PBBM at tsaka ni Speaker Martin Romualdez?
Well, ako, kailangan tanongin nyo rin sila eh. So,
tinatanong ko rin, pero at this point na kayo nandito, kaya kayo tinatanong ko.
Yeah, pero this is what we're seeing on the ground eh. And we've been consistent naman since since last year. Ganyan yung mga nakakita naming numbers.
Kaya anong possible explanation?
Iba sampling, iba period, iba yung spots. Importante yung spots, ha?
Pero ganun kalaki? Ganun kalaki yung difference?
Well, It's either you believe us or believe them. Ayun ang point namin. We're still going to do our survey.
Pero anong sinasabi ng science? Bakit ganun kalaki yung...
Yeah, in-explain ko. Sampling. Yung period. Yung spots kung saan na tayo nagko-conduct ng survey. Tapos pang-apat, syempre yung panahon, yung konteksto kung saan kailang ginawa yung survey. Kasi iba-iba yan eh. So, yan yung nakikita namin and yan ang nakikita nila. So, it's really up to us eh. Up to them pala or to also explain kung bakit gano'n yung kanilang mga yung variants, no? What we're seeing as far as Okta is concerned, but the trends are almost the same, di ba? Tumaas si VP Sara sa amin sa huli naming sa basically first quarter survey namin. Pareho rin sa kanila. Bumaba si BBM, pareho rin sa amin. Yun yung mga, I think, malalaking, I think everybody went down except VP Sara. So, yun lang.
Pero Professor, medyo malaki kasi yung discrepancy, no, to Ronald's point. Kasi we're asking these questions kasi at stake is the credibility of the survey firms. Yeah. No, and we're talking about the major survey firms, hindi yung mga hindi masyadong sikat. And nakikita natin pati doon sa reaction ni President Marcos. Remember, kahapon tinanong, or the other day tinanong siya yung reaction nga dun sa yung latest survey sa kanyang approval. Sabi niya, di magtitigil na lang daw siya sa ibang survey firm dahil iba-iba naman daw iba-iba naman daw ang sources of information sa ganyan.
In fairness, the question is, it's a question on trust, not performance. And
Yes.
I don't know the structure. Apparently, they included former President Duterte, aside from VP Sara. So I don't know the intent of how they structured that probe in particular. But if you're talking about our probe on trust and approval, which more or less is the same, yung structure ng questions. We did one in the first quarter, and this is what we found, no? That the trust and approval ratings of the president declined. The trust and approval ratings of the vice president improved dramatically over the quarter. So, are the trends the same as more or less the others? Yeah. But of course, the floor and the ceiling may be different, yeah.
Sir, my question...
Why it's so low in the others? Honestly, we don't know why it's so low. Question being asked of us also by serious academics also, who are by the fact that why certain people who are perceived to be doing wrong get high trust and approval ratings. Now, we can't answer that for them, no? Kasi sila yung may survey no. I'm sure we trust them also in a sense because they have their own process. But it's what we're getting in Okta. And I don't think what we're getting in Okta is good for the administration also, because it shows a two quarters of decline, successive declines for the president. We don't know now kasi we're going to measure it in June. And so this is we will have to wait syempre for the results. But that's as best as I can explain it. The period is different. The sampling is also different. The spots where we get are different. And because of it's a different period, there are also different events, no, that influence those who answer the survey at that particular time.
Sir, I have a question, sir, but it's not particularly directed at surveys, pero the vote itself kasi a lot of people are crediting the youth kasi nga 60% daw of the voters come from Gen Z ba and millennials, parang ganun.
The youth.
Millennial, Gen Z and millennial.
The youth,
Youth, 40 years and below.
And they're being
Not
credited
necessarily Gen Z.
they're being credited for the results. But is there anything to show that the ratios of the ages are different for 2025 versus 2022? I asked that kasi if we're crediting them now for the results now, then we should be blaming them for the previous elections. You know what I mean? Dumami ba sila bigla o pareho lang? In which case, why are we crediting them for the results now and letting them off or blaming ourselves for the previous results? You know what I mean?
I know what you mean, but I don't have the data honestly. And anybody who says that probably is not speaking from any source
It's anecdotal.
sense of what the data is. No, I don't think there's any credible survey company that's saying that there's a youth vote now. We're still at the moment of studying, no, at this point, the data, getting sense of the data. We don't have an exit poll, eh.
Yeah.
But let's assume, no, that they, at the kind of voting percentage, no, turnout that we had, that a lot of people of that age also voted. It's very possible, di ba? But as a person speaking for a survey company, I can't say with certain because I don't have the data to say that there is a youth vote. I will study, but one could, maybe hypothesize. When you look at siguro the character of those supporting, let's say Kiko and Van, let's just go to those two people. When you look at the people supporting them, majority of those supporting them are below 44 years old. Something like 45%, close to 50% are supporting them of that age group. When you look at the breakdown of their vote, I mean, their preference pala, not vote. Kasi wala pa kaming data on the vote na kompleto. Pero on the preference or age group, yun na nakikita na yung malaki yung what you call this, ang sumusuporta sa kanila. It's possible they came out, di ba? So we can speculate, we can conjecture.
Yes,
but
sir.
as to what you're saying, is there a youth vote? I can't answer that now because we don't have the data.
I only ask that kasi sometimes we do have a tendency to over-romanticize certain sectors. Like, let me tell you, for example, in previous elections, parating yung mga nananalo sa mga campus surveys belong to a particular group of in the political spectrum. Diba? But we in the previous elections we kept seeing them lose. So
this time they won.
And what's wrong with having a youth vote, diba? I mean, let's interrogate, let's investigate. The truth of the matter is the everyday Filipino voter, who by the way we haven't congratulated yet, came out to vote in large numbers. Number two, they didn't just come out to vote straight, no? Because, apparently based on our survey, most Filipinos, only 40% will vote straight. The rest voted strategically. And the turnout, given the high turnout, a lot of these people voted, strategically. And for very progressive people, look at the vote of Heidi Mendoza, Luke Espiritu. Look at the vote of, let's say, our friends from the left. They're not supposed to get those numbers, but they got those numbers. So a lot of people came out to vote. So I think we have to also give some recognition to agency that the regular Filipino voter began to understand more, became more discerning, and was able to divorce spin from substance, character, competence, and clarity of vision from the noise, and come out and vote for very specific candidates, no?
Yeah.
My students, just to tell you, relay lang nag-FGD ako informally sa klase ko, and I was telling them, ilan ba binoto nyo? Sabi nila, karamihan sa kanila, 3 lang binoto eh. Si Bam, si Kiko, at saka si Heidi. Or some permutation of that, no? Parang, it's possible that there was a lot of first-time voters who came out who were neither preferring both Duterte or...
Wala na tayong oras, Prof, pero pahuling tanong na lang. Sabi nyo kasi 12 out of 12 yung lumabas sa inyong survey sa Senate. Sa party list, ganun din ba? Ganun din ba yung level ng accuracy? 12 out of 12 or 20 out of 20 or 30 out of 30?
No, it was less accurate, but of course the top ones came in, except for Akbayan. No, I don't think any survey company predicted the excellent showing of Akbayan, if that's what you're saying, Sec.
Yun na nga eh. Bakit hindi nakuha yun?
Yun nga we were also wondering, we were also surprised, by the way, by the showing. But again, our survey was done 3 weeks before the election. It's no excuse. It's just really the reality of it. This is what we captured at that time. Although we had, for the first couple of surveys, pre-election surveys, been showing that Kabayan was worth at least 1 seat. But
that was Professor, that was 2.7 million votes. Bakit hindi siya nag-reflect?
2.8.
Yeah,
2.8.
No, it's possible. in the case of our party list, the sampling, no? Kasi we syempre random sampled yung mga spots mo. So we may have captured spots where Akbayan was not as resonant as, let's say, Tingog or Bicol, which we got correct naman, Ren, or Duterte Youth, which we also got correct, no? So maraming 4Ps which also got correct. So depende, Ma'am Ami, kung saan lugar, kasi syempre may pinagkukuhaan ng boto rin yung Akbayan. Siguro in our last survey in particular, I want to focus on our last survey. Maaaring yung mga lugar na hindi gano'ng kapopular ang Akbayan, yun na napuntahan ng mga interviewers namin.
Okay.
So pero it was always worth one seat.
Yeah. Prof, we have to leave it at that. We're already over time at pinapagalitan na kami ng director namin.
Maraming salamat.
Maraming salamat for joining us this afternoon. Okay, Okta Research President Ranjit Rai. Thank you, sir.